Okay, so for today, you were supposed to have annotated family tree. Again, make sure AP litters that if you're just coming in, you put your initials or check in the box back there before you sit down. There's a sign on the door. We'll wait for them to get settled down. This is taking a picture day. Is this spot cool? So cool. So there's 4 different sheets back there. You just got to put your name on one of them. So get 4 lines going. There's no reason for you all to be waiting in one line. Reach over somebody's shoulder. Quickly put an X in the box. This should take, in the future, less than 7 minutes next time.
We were sitting in the classroom.
There's a sign on the door that says AP
the
Lit.
Post-it note's like this big.
This was my test to see how well you notice the small details. Everybody who just walked in failed to notice the small details. Fail. Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter, can you please put an F next to all of these people who just walked in? Name, party, soft skills in the toilet. For those of you that just came in, take out your poem family tree. Thought class was a little light.
Because I lost.
All right. So for today, you were supposed to annotate family tree. What I'm looking for, or what my hope is that we can begin a discussion about how you go about the process of noticing the small details. I would imagine that over the course of your life, you've become finely tuned at personally reacting to things and having personal thoughts about things. Here, we're asking you to begin to approach another layer of critical analysis. So not just treating the text as something that you passively react to, not just that, even though that's part of it. Sinking your teeth into something. Remember, analysis, you notice the small details. No small details unimportant. Also, I wanted to see how well you could begin to start interacting with those literary terms and ideas that we started discussing last week and you had open note quiz land on. The one that I would imagine you have the most / it's paradoxical. You have the least amount of experience with is diction. It's very easy for us to notice images and note that. It's very easy for us to find metaphors or similes and notice that. We don't necessarily appreciate what goes into a singular word. Specific words have consequences on meaning. And so I'd be really curious to see if any of you pointed out exact word choice, which is essentially what diction is, and tried to examine the effect of that. What we're going to do right now is just kind of, as a class, make our way through the most of family tree. And we want this to be kept as almost like a conversation between you and I, where as a group, we think of how we would annotate what's going on here in this poem. How many of you liked it? Came up with something interesting? Yeah. How many of you hated it? Thought it was stupid and Mr. Lindenberg's a fool for giving it to you? Keller, you were nodding your head there? Okay. All right. We'll keep that in mind for the future. Okay. So, stanza 1. What are some, I'll read it, and then I want you to just throw out things that you annotated in stanza 1. Under my love, wake up to your window. The day calls and billows. It's echoing moonlight onto the blue nightmare of your heart. Cozy red rainbow. It's shaking off halos and the memory of our sacred so-and-sos. What do you got? Wyatt?
I like nightmare.
Okay, so you notice blue nightmare of your heart. Is that correct? Okay. What did you notice that as, in addition to just liking it?
It kind of made like a sad nightmare. I don't know.
So it would be a good idea, because this is a wonderful line to notice and sink your teeth into deeper. I would start with it's echoing into the blue nightmare of your heart. Blue nightmare of your heart, that's a metaphor for something, right? So we'd want to put down metaphor. We'd want to figure out what that means. What's going on with blue nightmare of our heart? Great thing to notice. What else is going on in stanza 1 that you annotated? one more, I'm going to give a caveat on class today. I may have pulled something around my hips this morning. And so if you see me engage in a bunch of like weird stretch poses like this, it's because I'm trying to loosen it up. So just probably going to stand like this for a while too. I'm not trying to get into like a power stance to intimidate you. I'm just trying to loosen up my quads. All right. One more with Wyatt, and then we have to have new friends.
I like red rainbow. It was like alliteration.
Red. So the alliteration of red rainbow. Now, what is the rainbow defined as?
Lots of many colors.
Well, and yet we're focusing on the red color. Also, in the lyric, what kind of rainbow is it? Cozy. So we got a cozy red rainbow. So diction with the word cozy, red rainbow. And then what's interesting about a cozy red rainbow at this specific moment in the poem? It's going right. Yeah, it is flip-flop with a blue nightmare on your heart. So we got a blue nightmare and red rainbow. So we got focus on blue, focus on red. What's that? Imagery. Okay, so we got red rainbow imagery. We got a contrast between a blue nightmare. So I don't know what the symbol is for contrast. More like this. The yin yang, right? Okay. And annotating, you can do whatever you want. What else we got going on in stanza 1? There's some seemingly innocuous words that function as sneaky diction. And if you don't know the meaning of the sneaky, innocuous word, your reading of the first stanza can be thrown entirely for a loop.
At this time, with juniors with Alaska
What?
proceed.
Billows is interesting diction, a different word than what I'm looking for right now. Even less interesting. Like if you saw this word on the street, you wouldn't think twice of it. What is the least interesting word?
Under. Two.
It's. Okay. It's pops up here. It's pops up here. Should be thinking to ourselves, what is this? It's. Mr. Shader, sorry. The day calls in billows. Billows is a nice word. Or a call in a billow. And then you were all mentioning halos earlier. It's shaking off halos. And so we got blue nightmare of your heart, a cozy red rainbow, shaking off halos. What alarm bell or question would you be asking there? Yeah, halos are associated with what? Angels. So something shaking off its halo. Is somebody dying? What else can it mean for a halo to be shaken off? An innocence lost, a fallen angel. So we got shaking off halos and the memory of our sacred so-and-sos. So here again, so-and-so similar to it's. What's going on there? So let's try to go through now. We've annotated stanza 1. You've noticed there's something in every single line to notice as far as interesting word choice, diction, metaphor, simile. There's a ton of meaning packed in here. So now we've annotated. Let's go try to start to figure out a reading. Under my love, wake up to your window. The day calls in billows. What's going on there? Under my love. What sort of relationship exists possibly in this first stanza?
Romantic relationship.
Okay. So under my love, wake up to your window. So where is this person who's sleeping waking up? Under somebody's love. What does that mean? Protection. So you're waking up under my love. The day calls in billows. What kind of attitude or idea is being expressed in lines 1 and 2? This is positive or negative? Positive. So under my love, the day calls in billows. So you're just waking up. The day is coming out into the sunshine. And it's calling in billows. Things seem safe, secure, and good. It's echoing moonlight on the blue nightmare of your heart. Hard turn. What is the it's? The day. And so they just look at it semantically where it's or syntactically. What did we do? To use a term. The day calls and billows its echoing moonlight. So the day would clearly be the its. It's right next to the its in the sentence. Now, what is interesting about the way in which this metaphor is unfolded? Hey, it's echoing moonlight. What is the echoing moonlight? The day, right? So we got the day having echoing moonlight on the blue nightmare of your heart. Somebody help me out.
Would it be like regret?
How could it be regret?
Like a blue nightmare of your heart would be like, you love somebody that you shouldn't, maybe? I don't know.
What? Why? How do you get that from blue nightmare of your heart?
I mean, I would say that like a blue nightmare of your heart is, so, I mean, obviously blue means it's like sad or bad. Nightmare, that's not good.
Absolutely not good, unless you're a serial killer.
Yeah. Of your heart, you love with your heart.
So why would the day be sort of the enemy of this forbidden love? If that's what we're going with. Yeah. It's out of the dark, and now you have to exist in the daylight, where if your love is something that's not shined upon, it has a chance to be exposed, or you have to hide it. So it's echoing moonlight in the blue nightmare of your heart. So we have love, they love each other, but something's off here. It's cozy red rainbow, in cozy red rainbow. It's shaking off halos. Again, what is the it's? The daylight. Okay, so the daylight is shaking off halos. If we go back to Miss Cabot and Mr. Ortega's ideas from earlier, how could the daylight be shaking off halos? Kind of similar to what Mr. Hayes brought up, right? So this innocence is being lost by the day exposing things. What is ironic about daylight functioning in a negative way? Right. And yet here, this light is not functioning negatively. In the memory of our sacred so-and-sos. What word should be popping out to you here? Sacred. So-and-sos are being described as sacred. Annotate. What's up with that?
Kind of brought like wedding vows to mind for you.
Say what?
They kind of brought like wedding vows to mind for you, sacred so-and-so. That's what I
And so how would so-and-so or wedding vows be sacred?
holy, seen as kind of.
Yeah. And so is this a positive or a negative thing right here?
Memories of no.
What'd you say, Mr. Smith?
It's also being shaken off
It's-
with the halos.
The daylight is shaking off the halos. The daylight is also shaking off the memory of our sacred so-and-sos. So the sacred so-and-sos, the sacred vow is being possibly exposed in a negative way by the daylight. Class, do you see how we've annotated and derived meaning from that first stanza to help frame our thinking? You give me a thumbs down right now, because otherwise things are going to get real for you in a second. All right, everybody stand up.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No,
This is a fun game Mr. Lindenberg likes to play. You are going to stay standing until you have something interesting to offer to the class about what's going on in this poem. Once you're sitting down, you're sort of on lockdown for a while. So if you want to sit down, you have to have an idea of consequence. Does that make sense? It combines my two favorite things: school and torture. Yes. And later in the year, we'll introduce the idea of stress positions. Yeah. You'll stay in jumping jacks until you have something interesting to say. All right. So we're on to stanza 2. Okay. Two-part process or 3-part process. I'll read it, then share your annotations, and then we'll start to figure out after annotating what all this stuff means. Oh, take my hand, sweet, complete your release and bury your feet, and married will be. Sacred song. Alone and receiving ours is a feeling that not they would see. They don't know what we could be. The way your cradle escaped to sea in your raven-haired mama told you so. Oh, what? Oh, was that one not on there? What part of that's not on there?
And
Raven-haired. All right. Well, hey, we got a new line.
Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. Who has thoughts? Miss Van Gene.
There's a lot of rhyming in the last word of each line.
So we got rhyme with sweet and feet. What else we got?
There's B and C.
B and C. And then where does the rhyme fall apart?
We're fake lines.
We got the word. Does the word they rhyme with anything? Is there a way in that one?
No.
Way.
Oh, yeah.
Way.
All right. So we got some rhymes. We got some not rhymes. Good. Sit down. Mr. Peterson.
The first three lines kind of establish trust
Sophomores.
with.
Last name's A-N to the lobby at this time for your picture.
Yes. So it establishes trust with the reader. Then the last bit basically breaks that trust and says that people don't know what they're doing. Won't know.
Okay. So you got positive connotations with the first three lines, negative connotations with the last three lines. Wonderful. Take a seat. Mr. Ortega.
The bury your feet part kind of makes me think of like, what is it, like, actually, yeah, like, settling down and just like, hopefully it's worth it.
I mean, what's the title of the poem? What would be like the tree version of burying your feet? So what could be going on here?
Building a new family.
Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Ortega, you notice burying your feet, and that is being something that's interesting and popping out to you.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Adele. Say that the line below, bury your feet. Is that what you're talking about?
No, even after that.
Can you reread it again? I couldn't hear you.
Alone with receiving ours is a feeling not that they would see.
Okay. And so what's sticking out to you about that line?
I think it, when they say receiving ours, I think it's like exchanging vows, kind of putting their love to each other, they're alone, sometimes we watch them.
So not necessarily like big wedding idea. So the word alone is sticking out to you, and then the content of that line is talking like they are alone in their marriage. Okay, very good. Mr. Belil.
I talked about how they said they'd be married, and then right after they brought up the feeling of what that would be like.
What do you mean?
Alone and receiving ours is a feeling that. They would see.
Okay, so you're now popping out to you is the idea of ours is a feeling, not that they would see. So what's going on with that feeling? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
All right, great. Sit down. Mr. Hale.
They said they don't know what we could be. I thought that was like one of their families doesn't want them to be together.
So you're looking at the diction of they, and you're wondering who is the they,
Yeah.
and you're thinking that might be family.
Yeah.
Okay, so their family might not know what we could be, the we being. Okay, great. Mr. Krogman.
With his, like the next line, that way your cradle escaped the sea. I feel like someone did something that would like contribute to that, like a way.
Say that again.
The last line, that way your cradle escaped the sea.
Uh-huh.
Like what Roy said, I feel like someone did something bad that would like contribute towards that. And I feel like it's out maybe.
All hands go down for a second. Only put your hand up if you have something interesting to offer about cradle to sea and what that could be a reference to. Mr. Allen.
I guess what I was thinking is that they cradle escape to sea as they escape their family, and then bury the feet, they kind of anchoring themselves away from the leak.
So cradle escape to ski is that they getting away from something bad, and now they're trying to make something new. Who has more to offer about cradle and cradle sea imagery? Mr. Ortega, he's really excited.
It's like some Greek mythology with that, isn't there? That's what really makes.
Greek myth, Jesus mythology, Moses
mythology.
mythology. I haven't gone to church in a while. What's the? Somebody give me the quick little lowdown on Moses. Miss Scanlon.
So mom wants to save the son from the slavery, so she puts him in this river and he ends up flowing to the emperor's house and being raised as a prince rather than a slave.
Yeah. So the idea of escaping, right? Does that fit with what's going on in this poem? Kind of like tonally?
Totally. Escape.
Tonally. Yes. All right. Okay. Other annotations for this stanza. Otherwise, we'll start to move towards analysis. Miss Hola.
I'm ready for the next one.
For analysis or the next stanza?
Next stanza.
Okay. Stick a pin in it. Who has annotations for this stanza? Miss Gousted.
Well, it's not really annotation, but it made me think like Romeo and Juliet, how like their families didn't want to put together, but they like tried to be together.
How does Romeo and Juliet fit with everything that's going on in here? Walk me through line by line, Miss Gousted. Take my hand, sweet, complete your release, and bury your feet.
Well, that made me think of like Romeo and Juliet, like pretending to be dead, and then the Romeo receiving hours, like that they would see, like Romeo and Juliet knew they were meant to be with each other, but like their families didn't think they were.
Uh-huh.
And then like same with like the they don't know what we could be, and the last time.
So the idea of forbidden love
Yeah.
is kind of continued to be expanded upon in these stanzas. Very good. Take a seat. Other people who have analysis now. So we've annotated, we've started to analyze. Who has other interesting, specific conclusions they can make about this stanza? Mr. Raymer.
And your raven-haired mama. I'd just say it's like imagery to paint the mother as very evil and wicked.
Well, but if we go back to Miss Scanlon's idea of the cradle going out to sea, why did the mom put baby on a cradle?
Save her.
Yeah. So raven hair we often associate with black, and black equals evil, right? In most cases. What else could black equal here that would paint the mother in a more sympathetic light?
Religion.
What do you mean?
Like race. If maybe that's why they have a forbidden love, depending on the time era of the poem.
So black is not necessarily symbolic of evil. Black would instead be symbolic of
The race of the mother.
the being an outcast,
Yeah.
right? Being separate from what is considered to be traditionally accepted by society, man. Does that make sense, class? Okay, both of you guys can take a seat. Other interesting analysis to take from this line. So mom sending baby away. So like the raven-haired mama told you so's. What would that mean to be? The mom is catching told you so's. It's it's not on there. It's a sneaky line that I just put in there.
She's getting ice.
That's what, yes, literally. But how can that make sense with what's going on in the poem?
Maybe people are upset with her that like she would have like allowed something to happen with her daughter. I would assume.
I mean, how is the love coming? I mean, they're in love, right?
Right.
But how are they doing?
Not.
What? Yeah. Are they doing well? No. Is life good for them? No, it's hard. They're in love. That's great. But society or something, some force is really sticking in their craw. So the mother is catching told you so's. How did the mother feel about this love?
She believed.
She believes. She wants it, right? Because people are saying told you so. The told you so being life is hard. We told you it would be tough. You shouldn't have let them do that. Does that make sense? Crew? All right, take a seat, Ms. Mavison. Let's move on to the next one. We're late. Oh, now here's where it gets real. The Band-Aid is ripped off. So we're laying in the shadow of your family tree, your haunted heart, and me brought down by an old idea whose time has come. And in the shadow of the gallows, dick shit, of your family tree, there's 100 hearts sore free. Is that happy or sad? Pumping blood to the roots of evil to keep it young. Oh, darkest.
So I had the first 3 lines. It's basically saying that their family does not want them to be in love and they're trying to prevent it.
And what's getting you there?
The brought down by an old idea whose time has come. So
All right.
It's kind of saying they're an old-fashioned family where they should pick the person.
There's a lot of interesting stuff to unpack with this idea of brought down by an old idea whose time has come. So initially, annotation would be, say that again, Durkis? Just summarize.
That they're an old family that believes.
Traditional values are bringing them down in some way, shape, or form. Great. Take a seat. Mr. Getchell.
I circled the haunted heart.
Okay.
That popped out towards me.
Yeah, I bet. And what popped out? Or what is that?
Because the haunted heart, it's like they're in love, and I know
what is that? What does that haunted heart call back to? The blue nightmare of our hearts. So this heart is, this love is cursed in a way. It's haunted. How can love be haunted? The only Ms. Cavett.
I feel like one of them is dead. That's the haunted. Makes me think that one of them is dead.
But that's a wonderful thing to think. But I want you to answer my question first. How can love be haunted, Mr. Getchell?
Drama with
Abuse. Okay. What are other ways in which drama generally? What sort of specific drama exists in relationships? You have abuse that can haunt a heart. Does this seem though like abuse?
Jealousy.
I know. We're not. Miss Chelver.
You could like two brothers make a living and then that just kind of push them apart and not being able to
come together. Okay. How else can love be haunted?
Not having a family that supports your love at all.
Not having so like Romeo and Juliet, right? Somebody think back to like think back to history. What other loves have been haunted in the world? Most recently, who just got the right to be married? Yeah. Almost. How in the past was LGBTQ love haunted?
It was forbidden.
Legally forbidden in some cases. Society looked down upon it. What other loves have been haunted?
I mean, in
blacks and whites.
But between races, interracial marriage used to be something that was illegal and punishable. Okay, so we got all sorts of these things maybe bubbling up with this idea of haunted heart. Wonderful, Mr. Getchell. Take a seat. Other annotations, Mr. Shader.
The shadow of your family tree.
Okay, what words popping out to you there?
The shadow.
Shadow. And what?
The shadow is like something's looming over you.
And whose family tree?
Your family tree.
Yeah. The person he's talking to, this person who has the haunted heart. So her family tree is holding over this shadow over this some way. Good. Take a seat. Who else? Yes, Mr. Darrow.
Throughout the first three lines, like the shadow of your family tree and haunted heart and time has come, I'm thinking this might be a gathering of a funeral, maybe.
So hopping on the Cavett chain, or hopping on the Cavett train, choo-choo. And what's giving you a funeral?
Haunted heart, obviously, that thing, but whose time has come, say usually refers to someone like dying.
Well, let's that.
And it also says at the beginning of the first line, we are laying in the shadow, we meaning collective people. They're in the shadow, meaning they're all feeling.
What is brought down by the old idea whose time has come? Adele. What is brought down by the old idea whose time has come? Their relationship is brought down by an old idea whose time has come, which is a little paradoxical. In what sense? The brought down by an old idea. So an old idea brought them down, right? Whose time has come, suggesting what about this old idea? It's coming to an end. However, it's still being desperately clung on to. So we got an old idea that's time has come, but it's still like it's the last gasps of this old idea of ruining them. Mr. Keller.
Last two lines is 100 hearts sore free, pumping blood to the roots of evil to keep it young.
Yeah.
The pumping blood part, what I found most interesting, because what you have all these free hearts in a sense.
Yeah.
Yet,
but
how can these hearts be pumping evil blood?
Yeah. What's up with that? It's a beautiful, wonderful thing tonight. I mean, that is a central paradox here. So there's 100 hearts that soar free, soaring free. Awesome. Pumping blood to the roots of evil to keep it young. Oh. Whose root? What are the roots here? The family, her family tree. Evil. Yes. Ms. Johnson, you can sit down, Mr. Keller.
So it says a lot of times in the shadows of the gallows of the family tree and why it's the valley of the family tree. Maybe it up a little bit.
Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, talk about gallows though. What sort of so gallows should be sticking out to you as interesting diction. Literally, gallows means what? A place where you get hung. Okay, now connotatively, what ideas, emotions, values, history is connected to the idea of hanging and trees? What? Lynching, right? So if we kind of come back to this idea of what could be this haunted love, what do we got going right now? It's seemingly playing around right now, mostly with the ideas connected with values or race. Mr. Sheeter, you are already sitting. Okay.
I got something to say about the story.
Great. Yep. Go ahead, quick.
Okay. The soaring parts and then the gallows right before it makes me think that the soaring parts might be already soaring people.
Yes, that are free now. They don't have to deal with this anymore. However, they are dead, and they are pumping blood into the roots to keep it young. All right. Next stanza. Ah, me, all mine. It's safe to say that we've waited patiently. Call me on time and recall the tune. That if you're leaving, remember to catch what you have to do for tomorrow. There's going to be something that I hand out possibly at the end of class. Gracefully, all in two line. There's a guard engraved in a place they saved for you. I'll fall by your side, though your silver-haired mama throws you told you so's. Mr. Bushinger.
I think that we waited patiently, and then it goes on to say, and we'll go over to Nana's place disgracefully. It goes on to support that their love is forbidden and that it shouldn't be going on since they're going to the grandma's place disgracefully.
Uh-huh.
So she obviously frowns upon it. She was not going to like it.
And who is the you that the silver-haired mama is throwing told you so's? Miss Headley? Something new? Oh,
It's 9, 10, 11.
So this is wrong.
That's wrong.
Okay.
Oh, that's wrong.
All right. Wait. Before you leave, based on what we've talked about, annotate the bejesus out of the rest of this, considering the level of detail I'm asking you to get to. And maybe come back with inklings of theme statements. Time flies and you're having fun, isn't it? Oh, yeah. It's talking about forbidden love and people dying and Miss Headley.